Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Michele Reynolds for her 14th interview in her Years of Growth series. Welcome, Michele.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us first, how has your future self been showing up?
Well, my future self has been showing up as Michele Voris versus Michele Reynolds.
You are right. You got to change it on the thing because it's...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's
Zoom.
part of it.
Got it. Here, we'll just change that right now. Look at that.
I'm just so used to calling you Michele Reynolds.
I know. Everybody is.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. Michele, I am back with Michele Voris. So, how else has your future self been showing up?
In all kinds of unexpected ways. So I had some things come up that just kind of lit my spirit up that I went with, and doing business a little bit differently. And my sprinklers got blown out yesterday, for free, which is so cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, my daughter's rocking it. Second place in a volleyball tournament. Like, things are good.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, let's talk about what has happened in your growth. In our last interview, you had you had this inspired idea to create your keto candy cart. So let's talk about how that went, how that played out.
Well, it was good. At first, I had these grandiose ideas of I was going to make fudge and candy and cake, and I was like, it was going to be like a bakery.
Yeah.
And the closer it got, the more I was like, this is not happening. And to the point that I emailed the host of the event and I said, I need to cancel this. And there's no way I can pull this off. I don't know what I'm doing, because I didn't know how to keep the food cold and all this stuff. And then she said, oh man, we were so looking forward to you, or, there's no way. And I thought, let me think about it. And I gave it a little bit of time, and just like a day or so. And I had definitely an inspired idea where instead of making all this keto candy, I just made trail mix with sugar-free chocolate in it. And I had like 6 kinds of it. They were all different nut mixes with all kinds of 5 different kinds of sugar-free chocolate. And I said, this is keto candy. And we got these little 2-ounce portion cups, and we had the cutest display ever. So we definitely went, and we met, 200, 300 people. We're still working on those numbers. There's a lot of them. And everybody, we were probably the busiest booth there. And people gladly gave us their contact information. They wanted to sign up for our free recipe list. And oh my gosh, we had the best time. We wore aprons, and we said this to them. We said, we also run a ketogenic lifestyle company. Do you want to know more about that? So we got right there. We didn't have to say the name of the company. We didn't have to tell them what they need to do. We just asked them, and they were like, yes or no. And so we already have, it's like we pre-screened them in advance. We know who's interested, and we know who just wants recipes. So It feels so easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then from that, I had an event where I got to go to Denver, and I got to make some desserts, and they were good. We had pumpkin roll and we had brownie cheesecake, and they were delicious. And I think you tasted them, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I want to come back. And so the event you're talking about is Future Self Cocktails. And so I want to come back to that, but I want to talk a little bit more about the keto candy cart. Do you think in the past you would have tried to force getting all that done and making all the candy and making it happen?
Would have bought a cart that I was thinking about. This was $1,000. I would have, so I would have bought that cart, and I would have also bought all of these candy making supplies, which I did buy some, but it ended up, I didn't need any of those. And so I was able to return all of those minus $26 in shipping. And so before I went like all out, I would have had business cards made. I would have built a website. Like I would have went crazy without even knowing if it worked. Now I know it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would you have forced the making of all the candy and tried to like make that happen no matter what?
Oh yeah.
Instead of, because I feel like you would never have in the past been willing to say, this is too much, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, I mean, I would have stayed up all hours of the night. I probably would have bought an extra freezer, an extra refrigerator, bought a truck so I could transport it. I probably would have went crazy with it.
Let's add that up real quick. Like, what do you think you like past Michele, former money story, right? Survival, like you would have spent, because it wouldn't have been an investment. It would have just been spending money, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, easily $5,000.
To make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For one weekend, like an idea, inspired idea. Like
right.
I would have went all crazy on it. And then I'd have extra stuff in my house. If it didn't work, I would just have all this extra crap.
Right. Right. And and not yet, I'm sure that in the course of time, and we're going to track this and of course, and see how this inspired idea keeps growing and the turns that it takes. But you didn't make $5,000 in one weekend, right?
No, not at all. In fact, we made no money in that weekend. We just met a whole bunch of people that loved the idea. And well, that's not true. We didn't make no money because we did sell. We actually got paid. How much do we get back? $171 earned back from people sampling. So we did actually make money.
Yeah.
And and I'm, the thing about this one is I'm okay if it works and I'm okay if it doesn't work. Where before I was all in and it had to work, right? There was a desperation and I don't care if it works or not. I'd like it to work because it lights me up. But if it doesn't work, then it's not what I'm supposed to be doing.
And where does that shift come from? Like we talked a lot, that feels in alignment with like our last interview, where we talked about some more of the balance in your life that you had been seeking for a long time. So where does that shift come that like, it's okay? What's behind that? It's okay if it works, and it's okay if it doesn't.
Well, a lot of it is being in the enchanted circle and doing the work. We've done the budget for attraction, and I am paying my bills. And there's like, I'm not desperate to make more money. In the past, I didn't have any clue where my money was going. And I was a spender of all spenders. And I would just buy stuff to have stuff. I can't tell you how many 3x5 cards I have upstairs. It's ridiculous. Like I thought I was going to do a follow-up system once with 3x5 cards for everyone I talked to. And I think I have 1,000 upstairs. I was like, if ever you need recipe cards, I might repurpose those for recipe cards. I don't know. But, the confidence comes in that I'm not desperate anymore and I'm not in survival anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And so it just opens up so much more because you don't have to make this thing work. You don't have to spend $5,000 to try and make it work because it's not the only way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. And you know that.
And I had fun doing it. Where some of the other things I've done in the past, I did them because it was business. But this, I had fun. I got to wear an apron all day. I literally was giving people food. And I shared recipes. I just had fun. And when you say candy, people are all over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you say keto candy, people are like the right people. The people who had no interest in keto walked right on by.
Yeah. And that is powerful too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. Yeah. Because you want to work with your perfect audience.
Yeah.
And this just did it naturally. I didn't have to ask them.
Yeah.
Or
they self-selected.
They did. Or if they didn't know about keto, they're like, I've heard about that, and then they were like, then they're inquisitive. And so you could tell who's interested and who's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have to sell them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about future self cocktails. Yes. So tell me, what was the biggest takeaway from this attending future self cocktails?
Oh my gosh. It was, again, it was fun. I went early and I made some food, desserts, but it was just fun. And I really felt like I showed up more at this one as my future self than maybe any other one I have, because I just had fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all part of the process, right? So it's, somebody could take away from this conversation, oh, what Michele is saying is, if I want to show up as my future self, go have fun, which may or may not be true, but
Yeah,
it's
no.
not the pathway to get there, right? What happens is you step more and more into your future self all the time, and we let go of all the other stuff. And so we can have more fun
Mm-hmm.
and just be more in the moment. Would you say that's a better
Oh,
description?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't just say like, go have more fun and you'll be your future self,
No,
right?
because look how many years I went and just had fun, and that didn't really work out for me.
Right? Yeah. Because that's a lot of your natural state, right? Is to have fun. And yeah, you're right. So it's not just that. So talk about, that was at least, so that was your fourth future self cocktails this year. Um, talk about how showing up to multiple, and like what happens each time you show up.
Well, I love that we always have a chance to be our future, to be her more.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And this time, I think every time there's more confidence in myself, and there's documentation of the growth that's happened. When we have a photographer come in and capture us, I just looking at the from the first one to the current one, just the documentation in the pictures alone is like, wow, you are really changing. This is happening, and it's confirmation that things are on track.
Absolutely. And so for you, that's very physical. Like your body's literally changing, but what else do you see? Because it's not just that,
Oh
right? You
no,
don't just see like, oh, I look cuter in that outfit or whatever, right?
right.
Talk about what else you see in those pictures and like what the shift and the change when you see them.
Yeah. Well, I see someone um, that's grown, confident, sure, um, beautiful in her own. Like, I don't know that I saw myself as beautiful before,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just this surety that it's just very strong, and it's just who I am, and I love that. Where when we first started this, I would have never said those words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's definitely confidence. There's some passion involved. There is I don't know the words for it, but like being on track.
Yeah.
So I think that's just evidence, proof it's happening. That's all. Those are why we track those things. Is it's like, yeah, there's just this. There's a deep knowing
Mm-hmm.
that life has shifted.
Yeah. And even there's like this, it's the deep knowing that life has shifted. And it's this, you show up as your future self. It's not like you weren't showing up as your future self, right? Like even if we just take this year in February,
Mhm.
it's not like you weren't showing up. You were
Right.
totally showing up, but it's a different, you step more into her. You can see more of her. You can be more of her. And so even in, we see the glimpses of our future selves in the photos, but you also see how much more you can see of her and how much more you've become, which is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like the more like and because I'm a visual person, I use the pictures and the seeing
Mm-hmm.
and that stuff. But I just the difference alone in who I was in February versus who I am now, I see her every day now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a good thing. So it's not like I have to search for a picture session to see
Right.
myself. I see it every day. And I'm like, it's just delicious.
Yeah. And I think that's what shines maybe in the pictures is that like you see it more and more every day. You become more and more. And so it shows up. And you're right. Like we don't need the pictures, but they really put those pins in the journey, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. It's like having a travel log.
Yes. Which is awesome. So what was the biggest, was there any big aha or takeaway that you had?
I loved the intimacy of it.
Mhm.
And that is definitely something my future self does, is gets together with small, intimate, close friends, and just we just are. And we had great food, great time. But um, what I love, my big takeaway is that not only am I growing, but in your community, we're all growing. And doing it together is so much more fun than doing it alone.
Absolutely. Um, and I feel like you might have in the past been the person who was always sort of out, not outgrowing in terms of like not being friends anymore, but you always grew faster than your friend group. Is that true?
Always. I
Yeah.
still do.
Yeah. And so what does it feel like to be surrounded by a group that is growing? Like it's not all the same direction, but they're growing in the same capacity.
Yeah, it feels amazing. It feels like, there's people who get me.
Mhm.
And I've got three friends who are not involved in your circle but are beyond me, right? They
Mhm.
have what I want. And I talk to them a lot about, them and what's happening in their life and how they're doing stuff. And it just confirms, when I come back to do the work with you, it confirms that I'm on the right path to go where I am going. Like,
Mhm.
and the great thing is they see it too. They're like, you're on track, you're rocking it, you're this. And it's like, I feel like I've got raving fans that are rooting me on. So,
Yeah.
and with the Enchanted Circle, it's like a sisterhood that I don't get in my regular everyday world.
Yeah. Absolutely. As your coach, do you want to hear what I saw like open or
Yeah.
different at this Future Self Cocktails? Is just this um I- in the past, and we've known each other for a long time, there was like this I want, and this very like almost going back to that desperate stuff that we talked about at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like this desperate, like I want these things so bad. And this is how it's going to happen, right? Like I am going to work my butt off. Like, and I don't think you ever worked your butt off in your, like in your businesses, like in you send out cards or Wakaya, like it, it's a fun, right? It's always been fun, but it was like, this is the way it's going to happen. And what I saw more present than anything at the last Future Self Cocktails was this wide open to possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yep.
maybe that is the way it'll happen. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I will be a caterer, and not in the way that it used to be like, oh my gosh, this is my way out. I'll go be a caterer of candy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But like, I can entertain that idea and I can play with it and I can see if it's fun or see if it's not fun, and I don't have to attach to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely true. Yeah.
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 Definitely. 100%. Couldn't have said it better.
And so how does it feel to live that life versus that former version of you that seems
Yeah.
so far away at this point?
It does. I like it because I'm open, like you said, I'm open to whatever is supposed to come is going to come. And I mean that in all aspects of my life, money, finances, love, like trips, travel, work, what I do with my daughter, like every single aspect of my life. I'm really just open at this point because I'm okay. So
Yeah.
now that I'm okay, I'm like, okay, what's next? Like,
Yeah.
and it's going to be more fun because I think I've realized this, and it took me a little while to realize this, is that it's always better than I could ever make it be myself. And so if I'm just open, it's going to be way more fun and way more intriguing, and it's going to be a better story than if I were to tell you how it's going to happen.
Yes. Yes. That is such a good, because it's so true, right? And it always like the more you let go, the better it is, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have a pretty good grasp. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
imagine more amazing than amazing. Like,
Yes.
hello.
Right. Amazing on top of amazing on top of amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. Um, what's your any advice or anything that you definitely feel is on your heart that you want to share today?
Um, my goodness, let me think about that for a second. I think so. Once in a while, I want to just talk a little bit about um, seeing my old self pop up now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Because it
um,
happens.
mhm.
We grow, but we're always going to have to outgrow that story, right? It's not that it's like we're fighting it, but it just, like you said, pops up.
And I think it happens so naturally for me. It's just ingrained. It's what I've known my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, I have three examples. One is money, one is work, and the other is um, like my birthday.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about my birthday first. So
Yay.
I'm turning 50, and I was like, no one's gonna do anything for me for my birthday. And I was like, I had this like, woe is me moment. And then I recalled something you said to someone else at one point, and I was like, no, my future self throws her own best party. And so I have scheduled a party, and we're doing a taco bar celebration, which feels so fun to me. And I have a friend who then kind of, because I went to one of her things and I saw her amazing new house, I was like, hey, I'm turning 50. And she goes, let's do your party here. So I got the place. And then I was sharing with another friend that I was throwing my own party. And she goes, I'll do your RSVPs for you. What do you want for your birthday? And I was like, and I had already thought through that. And I thought, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask for gifts. Again, old self. Oh, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask for gifts. And I'm like, no, gifts are great. I was like, and so I told her what I wanted. And so everyone who RSVPs, she's going to say, you don't have to, but if you do want to get her gift, this is what she wants. So I'm going to get exactly what I want.
Yes.
Right. And the things that I get that I don't want, I'm going to regift. So I'm going to have gifts for other people. It's all good. It's my life. I can decide
Right?
what I keep and what I don't.
Exactly.
And I'm excited about it. In fact, I have someone from my corporate staff flying in, and she decided she's coming in for an event, a work event, and she decided to stay over so she could go to my birthday party, and she'll leave the next day. So, it's just confirmation that people want to do life with me, and it's because I took control of the emotion and the thought and the feeling of the, like, I don't know, am I worth it? And heck yes, I'm worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm worth doing it for myself.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like, and just talk a little bit about that for anybody who's struggling or thinks like, I once had someone, with the best birthday party, and really, like, I would say shifted my whole birthday story is like, I threw myself a party. I decided on Monday, the party was on Wednesday. It was amazing. There was like 20 people there. And somebody was like, oh, because you had to plan your own birthday party. And I was like, that's amazing. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah. I've had a couple people say, you're throwing your own birthday party? And I'm like, yeah, heck yes. This is what I do. It's like, if
Yeah.
I want to have an amazing birthday, I'm going to set it up to have an amazing birthday.
Yeah.
Right? Like, who else's job is that? It's not like, if I were to expect you to throw me a party, but I never communicated that, and it didn't happen, I'd be depressed. And I'm like, no, instead, I'm going to let you know the date, and we're going to have a great party. Like, everyone's going to come excited, right? Like,
Yeah.
nobody's going to feel put out. Like, I'm paying for the food, I'm paying for the invitations, like, I'm going to buy the balloons. Like, I'm excited. And
Yeah.
I want other people to feel like they can just come be.
Yeah.
Like, there's no expectation of anyone else. This is my day. I get to do what I want.
Yeah. Just come be with me.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to make myself happy and you get to join in my party instead of me trying to think that you need to,
Yeah.
give me
And
a
it's
party.
like, and the fact is, like, I am worth it. And if I want to have a party for no reason, I don't have to turn 50 to have a party.
Right.
I can just have a party. Or if I want to have a barbecue randomly, I don't have to explain to people why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So this is no different. So
Right.
I'm like, it's because I'm worth it and I rock, and we're going to have a great birthday.
Yes. Yay.
Yep.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
who doesn't love tacos? Come on now.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
I love it.
So
That's
fun.
awesome. Very cool.
Let's see. So work. I feel like there's been a test with work for the last 2 weeks. I October 1st, like, everyone needed something. And it was like, I was like, whoa. And I was like, before, remember, I had 13 people working for me. I was paying everyone else to do the work, and I was doing nothing pretty much. And now I'm the one doing all the work. So it felt like not just pressure, but stress in a way that I hadn't felt for a long time. And normally I would have freaked out, and my old self would have freaked out. And instead, what I've done is I just am doing what I can each day.
Yeah.
And communicating, this isn't going to be done right now. Or I'm in process with this. Because I don't want to work 24/7. I don't. So I don't work on the weekends. And if it doesn't get done Monday through Friday, it carries to the next week. And so my job is just to communicate. Where before I would have worked 24/7 and killed myself and got sick. And, and then I think what that does in retrospect is it goes, wow, she can handle all this work. So then they just keep giving more work. And it's like, no, I can't handle all this work. I'm human. I can't. And it also helps me go, maybe I don't need any more clients. Maybe I am full. And that feels very abundant to me to go, wow, I've got a full client list.
Yeah.
Right. And if I were to do something else, maybe it doesn't fall on my plate.
Right.
Maybe there's someone that works 2 hours for me, or not 40 hours, 2 hours. So it helps me. Or what clients am I doing work for that don't light me up?
Right.
Maybe those clients have to go. I don't know. So there's just a lot of possibilities. So I saw that this week where I was like, I have a choice with how I react to this versus reacting.
Yeah. And it's really past self versus future self, right? Like I can react the way I always did, or I can create this new way and write the new story in the moment.
Yep, exactly. And then money is my last one. So I noticed a pattern of
Yay.
I know. I'm so super happy. So the thing that I love, the new habit that we've created, thank you, is in advance of me saying this, is I look at my money every single day versus me not looking at my money once a year. Right?
Yeah.
Or only, like, I remember in the past, I had no idea how much money I owed.
Right.
I didn't know what was being auto debited. I had no idea how much money I made. I had no idea how much money I paid people. I knew their hourly rate, but I didn't know like how much money. I didn't know if I was profitable. And now I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And when I make choices that are outside of the investments I have logged per se of like what I'm doing with my money, then I get to decide what I do next. Like what's my next step? And whether it's, pay off the investment or carry it a little bit or, when extra money, because extra money comes all the time, always. Like it just does. And that can go towards those. So it's, again, I noticed that I was at choice versus responding. And I'm so, and I'm going to try not to get emotional when I say this. I'm so proud that you taught me how to handle money. It's because I now know if I can do good with a little, I can do amazing with a lot. And I just know that, golly, look at me. I just know that I've learned what I needed to learn. And so now it's a matter of staying focused, staying on track. And like I had an opportunity to buy eyeglasses the other day, and it was $500. And because my glasses are crooked, and I opted to not, because I work at home and the only time you're going to see me is on videos like this, and these crooked glasses are fine.
Nobody probably noticed until right now if they're on video.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And so, where before I would have already paid that money for those glasses, but it wasn't in my plan. And not that I won't do things that are not in my plan. I will do things that are not in my plan, but then my plan must adjust. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you for literally 50 years old and 49 and 11 months.
Yeah.
And you have, I feel like I have successfully got to the point where I can manage and run my own money. So thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. Truly my pleasure. I love hearing that. I love hearing you show up to the call this morning and like, okay, I see the pattern. Like I saw it, you didn't see it. I saw it really quickly actually. And like, and I'm going to do something about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is, I saw an old habit pop up that I did, and I did see it. And the greatest thing about it is I stopped it.
Yeah.
It didn't continue. Like I saw it. Okay, let's adjust the plan accordingly and let's now go forward. And without, I mean, if I didn't look at my money and my numbers and my plan, I would have no idea. And this seems so common sense for people, like know your money coming in, know your money going out, know your, debt or your investments, know your whatever. But it's not normal for so many people. Like most people I know have like stories around this, right?
Yep.
And which is why we have money stories, right?
Yep.
Right? This is why you do what you do. And so, so for someone who this is just natural to them, know that there are people that it's not natural to. Like it wasn't natural to me for 49 years and 11 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's true. Let's just say 49 years. So, right.
Yeah. Well, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, during the process of working together, I think I saw it, but I think it was when I did one-on-one coaching with you is when it really shifted, because being part of a group was great, but I needed you to be like, no, show me your numbers, and I'm like, when I did that I invested in myself and did the work that I was like, oh, I see it now.
Right. Oh, I get it. Like,
because I couldn't do it by myself in a group. I needed personal attention. Like what I needed.
Yeah. And you did it. And it was one of the hardest investments you made, even though I want to point this out because it's such a great example. You just said like, yeah, in the past I would have gone and spent $5,000 to try and make the Future Self cocktails work. Our one-on-one, it was not $5,000. And yet it was torture. And it felt like, even though, there's a lot of ways that like that $5,000 you had, was a bigger deal. Like, and it was more money that you just would have gone because you were trying to make it happen versus the emotional turmoil of investing in yourself and coaching. Right. And it was like this repeated, like in a lot of ways, I don't have it. Right. I can't do it. It's not there. It's not there. And yet the old pattern would have like $5,000, right, to try and make this thing happen. Right.
Yeah.
And I forgot why I was telling that story. Just the difference in emotionally, it feels hard to invest in ourselves a lot of the time. And it feels hard because we're going to have all these breakdowns that follow.
Well, I was just going to say, the reason it's hard is because I knew I was going to have to do the work, and I knew I was going to have to own up to my own crap. And I knew I'd have to look at the reality of where I was. I knew the reality of where I was. I just didn't want to look at it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I could have told you, I this, I that, the story. I could have told you the story of like the back of my hand, but for us to actually dig into the story, oh no, heck no. So of course I didn't want to invest in that. I was like, it's called avoidance.
Right. And you see that now, right? It wasn't, but it felt, and I want to share this for just anyone who needs to hear it. It felt like it was, I can't do it financially. But
it felt like $1 million.
Yes. That's such a good way to say it.
It felt like $1 million. Like I was like, almost like a underlying, I'm not worth this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nothing could be farther from the truth.
Right. Yeah.
I now might pay 1.5 million now.
Right. For that same thing.
Yeah.
Because in a way, that's what you were investing in $1 million. Like you were investing in your millionaire self. And Yeah. It just,
Fun.
I know, right?
I just got chills. I'm like, yes, I like it. Bring her on.
Yes. And and so I really want anyone to hear that when you think about making an investment in yourself that's going to change and grow you, and it's going to force you to do the work, it feels hard and it feels like it's about the money. Our brain convinces us. You were 1,000% convinced it was about the money, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
absolutely.
I can't, this is a bad financial choice.
I was like, this is what was going on in my head is I'm watching my money go down.
Mm-hmm.
How could I possibly spend more money on myself?
Mm-hmm.
Where afterwards I'm like, that was the best investment ever.
Yeah.
But I had to do the work, and it was not always fun, but well worth it because now I know how to do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like you're buying empowerment.
Yes.
If you do the work, right?
If you do the work.
You can buy empowerment and not do the work, and then you've just made an investment. But if you buy empowerment and you do the work and you follow through and keep it consistent, then you're good.
Yeah. What do you think?
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.
What's the difference and what's the key to like getting the return on investment? I mean, it's obviously doing the work, but what would you say to someone, like, how do they know if they're going to do the work? Or how can they ensure that they're going to do the work? Or do you know what I'm asking? Like, what's the difference between just sort of buying empowerment to try and buy empowerment and buying it to do it?
Well, for everyone who's ever bought anything that's going to make you better, right?
Yeah.
You can, go to a seminar, buy a book. It doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't matter the value of it. If you've not decided to do it,
mm-hmm.
and you have made yourself vulnerable, and if you don't line up accountability, you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. How many of you have went to a seminar, and this is just a random question, nobody needs to answer or email Cassie or anything, but how many of you who have bought a seminar, took like a whole notebook full of notes, and you've never looked at that notebook again? Mm-hmm. If you would just go back to the notebook and you would actually implement the things you learned consistently, right? You do the work and you go, oh, wow, I really do stink at this part. I need help. I can't do this. Hey, could you help me do this? Like that's, then you would see a return on your investment. But I think so many people just invest with hopes that this is the magic answer. And I'm like, there isn't a magic answer. You are the magic answer.
Mm-hmm. You are the magic answer, right? You have to do it. Yeah.
And let me say it my way. I am the magic answer.
Yes. It is true.
Oh, so
it
fun.
is true. Yep. Yeah. I love it.
It's like the magic Jack and the Beanstalk. I am the magic answer.
Yay. Yes. Awesome. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that and this moment in your journey with us. It's been an amazing interview. Tell everybody how they can connect with you if they just feel drawn to.
Absolutely. So it's Michele, Michele, Voris, V as in victory, ORIS.com. And just you should contact me there. It's going to be really fun.
That's right. It's awesome. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Michele, again for sharing this magical moment in your journey with us. And make sure to come back and check out Michele's next interview in her Years of Growth series.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.